Hey everyone, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to my garden. I'm so excited to be starting the 2025 garden video series. I just do these sporadically throughout the season as I need to kind of document the progress of the garden. This is my original garden space. There are 9 4x8 foot beds in this area, and normally we grow all of our veggies and stuff in these beds, but this year I'm dedicating them almost entirely to flowers. This first bed, as you come into the garden, though, is our strawberry bed, and it's going to be a really great strawberry season, I think. But you can see the rest of the beds have either open space that have yet to be planted, or they're filled to the brim with tulips and daffodils. And then as these continue to be harvested out, then I'm going to be planting all of my dahlias in these raised beds. So here's the strawberry patch for this year. This is, I think, the third year for these berry plants. So they're going to be really nice and full this year. I need to come in and rake out some of the dead leaves from last year and cut back some of these little old, the little runners. But the plants that are coming back in, you can see they have really nice, healthy looking crowns. So this is a batch of tulips that I left in last year. I didn't pull the bulbs from these. They are a Darwin apricot, I believe. They're going to be really beautiful this year. And then the rest of the tulips in here are just ones that I didn't get the bulb pulled out from last year. And so you can see they've sent up the leaves from the bulbs, but there's not really any blooms coming up. I'm going to let these leaves be and take energy in, and then maybe they'll put up a bloom for me next year. But I think what I'll do is probably in the late spring is dig these up and then relocate them to elsewhere. These are my daffodils for this year. I put these in this last fall. There's lots of different varieties in here, all the fancy varieties with the like ruffled centers and things like that. So these are going to be fun to have. And then this center bed at the very, very end are just some sporadic little daffies. And then there's some muscari here. I had a little baggie of muscari that I thought I would put here and let it come up. And I thought it would be cute here in this corner. But it also might get moved as they're done towards late spring. This bed is kind of a hodgepodge. Most of it, of the greenery that you see, are bulbs that I didn't pull up from last year when I harvested, and so they've sent up the leaves, but they don't have any blooms. And then this section here in the front, I actually planted a few fresh bulbs last fall, and so that's what you're seeing here in the front. And then this year we have lots of little violas coming up volunteer in the garden paths. And I think they're so cute. I love how they all have their cute little different colors. And so these get to stay. Whenever I find these little violas in the pathways, they get to stay. Here's another bed of tulips. It's about 500 tulip bulbs planted in this 4x8 foot bed. And looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 different varieties of tulips in this particular bed. And they'll all be either mid-season or late-season bloomers. You can see some of them are getting really close. Probably about a week and I'll start being able to pick some tulips. This bed shows just how far down the soil drops in a year, because I top my beds off each year. So this one is empty at the time being, but I'll top it off with compost and get some more soil in there and plant it up with the dahlias. And then this last bed is all tulips. You can see those ones in the front that are getting really close to being harvested. And then the rest of them are kind of late season tulips, so they'll be picked a little bit later in the spring. The yellow plum tree, looks like it's going to have a bunch of flowers on it this year. There's just buds everywhere. And some of them have even just started to pop open. So I suspect in a few days, this tree is going to be completely full of buds. So hopefully we get lots of fruit. And then this is Oliver, of course. He was out in the garden to help me today. And this is a look at the what I call the cut flower area. These are 11 rows for flowers. And I also have some perennials planted around the outside edges. But that first row there has some things that are going to be reseeding from last year. So there's some feverfew and Dara, some Nigella, and a couple other things in that first bed. And then the rest of the rows need to get finished tidying up, and then they will be ready for replanting this year with all my annuals, like my cosmos, my snapdragons, my sunflowers, my zinnias. And I'm going to do a full row of tomatoes out in this cut area garden this year. So that'll be fun. Here you can see one of my big poppies is coming up. That's exciting. And there's lots of yarrow in this row as well, which I need to get in and tidy up before it gets a little bit bigger. So you can see last year's bloom stalks are fallen. And the sedum is coming up, so that's fun. I've got a little short row of sedum. And then this is the look at the garden from the other direction. And so what I'm going to do, I think that the first row here that you see, I'm going to turn into sunflowers again this year. That's what I had last year there as well, and that worked out really well because it's kind of a wider row. And then the next row, I think, is going to be tomatoes. And then we'll continue on with all the different cut flowers for the garden. But that's it. Thank you so much for joining me in the garden. I hope you are out and able to enjoy your spring. And thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you soon.